Welcome back to the channel, everybody. It is officially the middle of May, and it is planting season up here in Northwest Ohio. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plot my holes. Right now I've got about 48 pepper plants I'm going to plant. I haven't picked up my jalapenos yet, but I'll be picking those up later today. But so far I've got some peppers and I've got a bunch of tomatoes to plant. So I think I counted 97 tomatoes. So I'm going to try to do 12 in each row, as 96 is the next closest divisible number by 12 for my tomatoes, and 48 is divisible by 12 for my pepper plants. So it'll give me 4 rows of 12 for my peppers and about 8 rows of tomatoes with one extra. So I account for maybe tearing one out and breaking it. So, or I'll just take the weakest one out and not plant it. So, about to get started. So I'm going to show you what I use. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use this auger drill. Now I go wider than the drill. I don't want them to get compacted in the soil, so I kind of loosen it up a little bit around. I've marked my first hole, as you can see here where the drill's pointing. So I'm going to do my outside rows first, and then I'm going to space them evenly in between. So I'll show you how it works. So I figure this is about 18 inches. So I'm going to kind of mark and score the ground every 18 inches until I get to 12, because that's about what I want to plant my peppers at. And then once I get a nice even row, I'll go ahead and drill it out. And then I'll pop my peppers in and throw a little mycorrhiza on it and cover them up lightly. So I'm not going to go all the way to the end here. I do have a path on this side of the garden. So let's see how many holes this is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I need one more hole. So my last hole. So I'm going to be able to have a nice walkway through here. So set straight. A little bit to the right. Alright. So just need to make up a hole in between. So now, if you're wondering, this is a back to Eden garden. Currently, this is my second year into the deep mulch. Everything's decomposing pretty well. It's pretty dark soil. Of course, we have a lot of sand up here in Northwest Ohio, so drainage isn't really that big of an issue as long as the level of the ground is higher. So I threw a bunch of leaves on the garden this fall. Ideally, that's what I plan on doing to replenish the nutrients every year, because we have tons of trees. We live in the woods. So the leaves obviously decompose a little bit faster than the wood chips, and I think they create a little bit better planting medium. So you'll see a few of them scattered out here. Now, in one of my previous videos, I had added some clay soil just to raise the height of this garden. I was getting a little bit of root rot from the saturation, because this is a little bit lower than where the water level lays. So I raised it up just a little bit so the roots have somewhere to go and breathe. Now, obviously the tomatoes, I'm going to plant them really deep, but the peppers, I'm going to kind of keep them a little bit higher. They're a little bit shorter this year. My tomatoes, we have, I think they're red oxheart, the giant variety, and I've got probably the tallest one I think is around a foot, maybe a foot and a half. So they've grown tremendously. I used an enriched potting soil. It had like bat guano and some other minerals in it, and I couldn't keep these plants short. They just kept growing and growing. I started them about a month, let's say about March 14th is when I started them. So they've been growing for a couple months now. They need to get out because they're probably wrapped up in roots. It's going to be the thing I find out when I go to plant them. But let me finish this row, and then I'll show you how I plant the peppers with the mycorrhiza fungi, and then we'll go on to the tomatoes. There, that's 12. One's off a little bit. Well, that's not a very straight row. Oh well, it's just peppers. Okay, so first up on the list is going to be some sweet bananas. They're going to go in the first row. I got 6 of those. So first thing I do, I squeeze the pods that they're in. Don't be afraid to squeeze them a little bit. They ain't gonna hurt them. It just helps them slide out a little bit better. So, as you can see, this is what I expected. The roots are all bound up. These are probably planted a little bit before. Oh, see if you can see that little centipede. Okay, so make sure he's not on me. All right, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to break this up. Just be a little bit gentle. I don't want to break the taproot. So these are just little feeder roots. This is what's going to bring all the nutrients into the plant. So now this is broken up pretty good. I went ahead and I ordered some mycorrhiza. I'm going to do something a little bit different this year. In between these rows, I'm going to plant ryegrass. It is perennial ryegrass. So ryegrass is going to go in between, and I'm going to put about a spoonful on these roots. So a little spoonful, the big spoon. Sprinkle on, wipe off the excess in the hole. Make sure it's nice and coated. This is going to allow good transmission of nutrients to these roots. Okay, so just kind of bring the soil back in over it. Give it a light little press here. There you go. Now I just have to do that about 150 more times, and then the garden will be planted. Okay, so I got all my holes drilled. It just makes it a little bit easier if there's already a hole there to put the plant in. So I didn't finish the first row because I haven't picked up my jalapenos yet, but I left the holes there. Next thing we're going to be planting should be yellow sweet peppers. So I'll move my chair over. Also, it's a lot easier if you have a chair. It's a lot of bending over, and I don't want my back to be sore later. sure I'm not disturbing the rest of the plants. Whoa. Chair got a lot shorter. Alright. Yep, golden summer sweet bell peppers. Alright, remember, you squeeze them both directions. And just pop them out. I like putting the first one with tag, just like this one, just so I can walk by and see them. Now, pop them open. I did switch to the smaller scoop. I was just putting an awful lot, and I want to make sure I have enough for the tomatoes. So, small scoop it is. Alright, so I've engaged my sprinkler system just to water everything in that I just planted. Give it a nice drench. It's going to be a little bit sunny today. I did see a couple of peppers were wilting once I put them in the ground. The soil was pretty dry, so I'm going to get them nice and established here, and we're going to have some awesome peppers this year. Next on the agenda is going to be these tomatoes. I'm actually going to run these sprinklers over these. There's a few of them drooping. So like I said, it's pretty sunny out here today, so they're going to dry out pretty quick in these seed trays. So I'll get them a good watering before I put them in the ground. Okay, so I got everything planted yesterday. I was looking at the tomatoes. Everything looks like it's doing pretty good. There's just a couple of them wilting. Nothing too serious. I just water them a couple times. Now, as far as fertilizing, since I do organic gardening, the main thing that I put on here is compost tea. I'm going to do another video of that this summer when I first apply it. It is organic gardening, so I have to follow strict guidelines, make sure I don't put anything on there that isn't naturally derived. So the main thing, just make sure everything's watered every day, and we'll see how everything progresses. There will be an update coming to this video as everything grows. I hope to see the leaves darken up a little bit. I did see slight purple on the underside, not as bad as previous years. The potting soil was pretty good this year, but everything's going to get a real deep dark green. I put some sulfur on the ground out here as well, just to lower the pH a little bit, and everything else, we're going to see how it does. But I want to show you the peppers real quick. They look nice and healthy. They don't seem to be wilting at all. So I ended up with 48 of these. We should be able to make a pretty good amount of tomato sauce this fall. My grandma has a recipe that I stick to. It's pretty good. So other than that, thank you guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed already, please consider doing it. I put out a video at least once a week. I try to keep everything updated, whether it's in the wood shop or out here in the garden. I'm all about homesteading and the homestead life. So if you guys are interested in that, like I said, just click the subscribe button, like this video, and share it. I would really appreciate it. All right, see you guys next time.